All right, and we are back on this Thursday, just like that, with our second conversation for this morning. And we have none other than a man who is no stranger
No.
to us here at Open Your
Also his
Eyes
second home.
and to Belizeans across the country and abroad. None other than Mr. Vladimir Andrade. And he's the executive director at TASA.
TASA.
If you want to know what TASA is, Valdemar. Sorry, I don't know why I said Vladimir. And TASA is the Turneffe Atoll Sustainable Association. Sorry for messing up your name, sir. Good morning.
No problem. Good morning.
Have you been called Vladimir?
I've been
before?
called Vladimir a lot. Actually, one of my son's name is Vladimir.
Oh,
so-
really?
Yes.
So I mistook you for your son. That was my-
Good morning.
So I forgive Paul because he has
know?
and he has been helping us to sell this product.
Of
course, the Turneffe Atoll Sustainability Association, as you rightly know, the reason why we ask you to kindly invite us to your show is we're turning 10 this year.
Wow.
10 years
Yes,
old.
yes, and I first want to thank my entire Turneffe Atoll Sustainability Association team and all the partners and donors and contributors for 10 years of solid work of conservation, sustainability, education, science, outreach, integrating ourselves into tourism and innovating marine conservation and actually promoting Turneffe as a model marine protected area. And as you know, we have invited the media, and the media has done a great job in talking just about every aspect of it. It's a lot going on there, and so we are taking the next 7 months. We are launching here in April 22nd on Earth Day. We are launching our 10th anniversary celebrations to invite everybody in to see what we have done and talk about what we have done. Talk to the people who we have worked with, the fishers, the tourism stakeholders, our board, our partners. We're going to do videos so that people can understand who all has been involved in this, and that the media has.
Can I ask, can you walk us through, take me down to 2013, right? What was happening at that time when you decided we need the Turneffe Atoll Sustainability Association?
Sure. So let me start by saying that, the first 3 years I will talk about from what I have read and people that I have spoken to that are key to this organization. People like Dr. Craig Hayes, who was there from Turneffe Atoll Trust and Turneffe Flats, who have put in many years of work. Julie Robinson, who was at the Nature Conservancy, who basically did a lot of the consultation work. Both of them did a lot of the consultation work with the fishers, the stakeholders. If you guys remember back then, there was a famous guy by the name of Mustafa Touré. I don't know if any of you ever met him, but he was a dynamic guy. I can't tell you the countless amount. I was at Belize Audubon Society at the time as the executive director. And he had approached us because he was saying, this Turneffe Atoll was heavily used by fishers. It was being developed. And he thought it was the last frontier that needed to actually be, conserved in a way. At that time, we looked at the UNESCO designation, Man on the Biosphere Reserve. We look at the UNESCO designation as part of the UNESCO designation reserve areas of the 7 sites that we had. But it took thousands and thousands of hours of consultation to convince people, because of course people, like the fishers, always believe that we are locking up spaces away from them.
Yes.
And so we had to explain to them that what we are doing is looking at a multi-use zone. Actually, 85% of the area is still open to use and under certain guidance and restrictions in terms of the fishing regulations, the tourism regulations, development regulations, but it doesn't preclude you from using. I was just asked by my good friend outside, from the Ariel Cycling Association. They were, I said, he said, is it about conservation? I said, no, this is really about people, right? It's about how people survive, because at the end of the day, we are intrinsically tied to the marine environment. I don't know many of you, I grew up eating fish, lobster, ceviche. I love ceviche, And so, it's about how do we make that sustainable for the future. That's why we're working on seaweed as well. So those thousands of hours then generated the support for us to establish the Turneffe Atoll Marine Reserve in 2012.
2012.
Right, so in 2012, the Marine Reserve was established, finally established after many hours of consultations and many different agreements and disagreements. And then there was a need for an organization
Right.
to be formed to
manage.
actually manage it. So in 2013, November, the Turneffe Atoll Sustainability Association was formed. And the difference in the way other marine reserves are designated is that Turneffe was designated in its entirety. Today, with the new expansion of the replenishment zones, we're talking about 360,000 acres of marine space that we manage. So 30 miles, 360,000 acres of marine space.
Wow.
And so it is 30 miles by 10 miles. And you have been there,
I have.
right? And it's an expansive area
Yeah.
to manage. And so, at the end of the day, we had to look at how were we going to do this. The board is made up of the stakeholders. So all the stakeholders, so whether you're the government of Belize through the Ministry of Blue Economy and Civil Aviation, the Fisheries Department are represented on the board. The University of Belize is represented on the board. The Belize Tourism Board is represented on the board. All the tourism stakeholders of Turneffe are represented on the board. The fishermen are represented on the board through the cooperatives, and there's an individual fisher as well. We have strategic partners that are a part of the board. So this is really owned by the people who benefit from it.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I've been out there. What key were we on?
We were on Calabash Key.
Calabash Key. So that's. I was out there on Calabash Key. I'm just having this conversation. Brings back all that memory of the white sandy beach. I mean, the water is blue all the way up to the beach. I want to go back. In fact, I feel like going back right now. Just
You could go back as a part of the 10-year anniversary.
I
Yes.
mean, it's a,
Actually, we're having a media visit, Charlie, so you should come.
I should come.
Yes.
keep that secret for me alone. But I mean, it's beautiful. And then when we talk about your seaweed program as well, and we talk about the tours that you have on Calabash Key as well. That's very informative, very insightful. Let's talk about a bit about the how we sustain the association, the approach that we're taking in terms of financial sustainability.
Okay, sure. So it's an excellent question, right? And we are right now at the point where we have come to this point at 10 years, and so now we have to figure out, okay, how do we consolidate all of this? We have done a lot. I think the team has really innovated a lot, but we have to figure out, okay, what works, what doesn't work, what can we afford, what is practical. In the sustainability, much of this has been driven by grants and donors and individuals who believe in what we are doing and who believe that this is firmly contributing to the economy of this country. And so those partners basically have funded us many grants. So we are, I would say, 80% grant funded. So we write a grant, we have to manage those projects. It takes a lot to do that. But as you know, we have been transforming that into a blended finance approach. And so basically, in 2020, we took an impact investment, which is a loan, right, from impact investors. These are private sector investors who believe that conservation impact is very important. And so there's no securities on that loan for $750,000 US dollars. It was a total of 1.2 million with the grant component financing that came along with it. And so based on that, we did a market analysis. We plugged into the tourism. We don't do tourism. We are not a tourism. We are not competing with our tourism stakeholders. What we have done is to build products that infills for the tourism stakeholders. So when we reached out to them, we asked them, what else do you need to make this happen? First of all, many of them were like, where is Turneffe?
Yeah.
That's sad.
And we still have that today. So a big part of it has been marketing. We have been working with the Belize Tourism Board. I have to give the Belize Tourism Board great kudos for the support there on our board as well. And this has helped us to ensure that we are marketing. But we have our own tourism program that is also helping to do that, along with an organization who is supporting us called Blue Finance, who has been assisting us with doing this work.
Yeah.
So that approach then has taken us to be able to build towards conservation fees that each resort pays and that each day operator pays. The resorts in Turneffe are very special. They understand this product. They know that it forms the backbone of their industry. And I have to tell you that today, you know, 2 of those resorts have quadrupled their fees. Blackbird
Wow.
Key Resort was the first to do so. Turneffe Island Resort has now signed on as well, and they will commence, I think, in July, August, in full at a full 100% of being a conservation support entity. And Turneffe Flats, as you know, they have doubled their fees, but as you know, we have a conditional grant agreement with them as well to support for 1.5 million over the next 6 years. So this is to tell you the level of seriousness that these stakeholders have. We are also working with the day operators, right? And so we have many day operators from Keycocker, San Pedro as well, who are signing on to these conservation agreements to be able to do this. A part of that is messaging to the guest, because involving the guest and letting the guest know and the visitor know, okay, how can they participate in this conservation work? Because many of them come to rest and relax, but they are very interested. People, especially in Turneffe, people are, you know, that can afford to go there, you know, basically are able to donate, they're able to give, and they understand the concept of participating in conservation. So that is a part of how we plan to do this for the future. We're not there yet, we are just commencing, but the work has had tremendous results to date.
You do have informative sessions
Yes.
that visitors get to engage your officers when they go in Calabash, for example. And if you aren't aware, April, the Wit Concrete that was sung is actually out there in Turneffe. We got a chance to visit. One of the questions I wanted to ask was about enforcement, however, because with all these regulations in place, over that, and we're talking about land and water that spans over 30 miles, correct? How do we engage enforcement to ensure that the work that we actually set out to do is being done?
Yeah, so there's a couple questions in there, but you know, I'll start by saying, in addition to in the financial sustainability program, the resorts allow us to go in and do what we call blue talks.
Okay.
So we present to the guests themselves, and we are able then to message to them. Many times after that session, you know, we have a merchandise approach that we do, where for a small donation they can have a gift, and many times you know, the visitors will give above and beyond the threshold, you know, of, let's say it's $40 for a shirt, they will give $100 for a shirt. We've got now up to $1,000 for a cup.
Wow.
For example, you know, are people
Some
understanding?
very nice people.
Right, and this is the approach, you know, and it takes a lot of different aspects to be able to do this and innovating what we do. In terms of enforcement, the best approach to enforcement is actually education. So the reason we gather all this data, the reason we do all the information gathering, so that we can inform the general public, the fishers, the tourism stakeholders, to be able to comply, because that is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not to catch you and arrest you and take you to jail.
Right.
It is to let you understand what the sustainability approach is, how can you be a partner in complying, whether you're a fishery or a tourism stakeholder, whether you're a developer, whether you're a single landowner.
Right.
But just to answer your question, we have 16 conservation officers that are guided by an entire management team that does 25 patrol days per month from 3 bases. So we have a base in Marrakech in the north, a base on Calabash Key in the central, and one on the south. You know, that go out every day. There are normally between 2 to 4 officers, depending on the rotation, at those bases that go out. They interact with the fishers. We use a lot of technology, so we have the spatial monitoring and reporting tool where we record what we see on the vessel. We record the fishing license. We ensure that they're complying. We ensure that they're catching within the size limits, that they're complying with the seasons, that they understand. And then we also do education sessions with those same teams that goes and say, these are the data that we are gathering. We have on the south of the atoll, we have a radar that is basically capturing data 24 hours a day. And we are able to know if people are incurring on infractions. We have also been able to see tourism vessels and be able to invoice them
Okay.
for the visit through those technology. We use drones, we use vessel monitoring systems, that are satellite based to know where our patrols are. So it's, the data, and we can show you with certainty we are doing 4,000 patrol hours per year, 12,000 hours in patrol, science, and education per year.
I wanted to, because I know you said you're gathering this information for education for the local government, local population in Belize, but don't you think there's a disconnect from Turneffe with Belizeans? And I ask this because you said for those who can't go to Turneffe, right? So as somebody who has never been to Turneffe and probably will never go to Turneffe.
Oh, don't say that.
Because the boat is far away. How long it take you?
An hour.
How long?
1 hour. Hour
Okay.
15, hour
Okay.
30 on a
So,
choppy day.
not too
Yeah.
bad. But for those that will probably never see Turneffe in their lifetime,
All right.
why is this information important for me?
I see the point of your question, but there are 1,336 fishers that beg to differ of knowing about Turneffe for the last
but
decades
I
and
just
decades
want
and
to know for
decades.
everybody else
There are
who wants to
1,000 tourism
assist.
stakeholders that also have integrated, and so they also spread the word. The reason we also bring the media is if you can't come to Turneffe, we bring Turneffe to you so that you know that it is there. But we are challenged, and we are finding ways to do the Belizean, to bring Belizeans in. Again, we are working with BTB to see how we can ensure that as the Belizean traveler, how we can get people there, because there are different ways to do that, right? It means doing it like the Belize Audubon Society, where they do a special trips for Belizeans to bring them at a reasonable cost so that people can really enjoy and see the beauty.
Yeah.
I encourage people to take the different options. I recommend that it's mostly in larger groups, say, 15, 20, 30 people at a time. That helps to defray the cost, and then we can work out the rest of it through our program that we have. And then we have preferred service providers that also understand that Belizeans need to go there. So yes, we are gradually getting to that. One big step in the right direction is first for people to know that it's right there. It's right in front of Belize
And
City,
that's why I asked, because it's there, and I will be very, very arrogant to say it's mine as a Belizean, right? So I should have access to see it and to care about it and to love it. Because in order for people to buy in, they have to want it and they have to care about it.
Sure,
right?
I mean, and that's the point of this exercise, right?
Yeah.
This Turneffe Atoll Marine Reserve does not belong to TASA. It does not belong to the government. It belongs to all of us, and we want you to own it. So the approach, why we have the board is the way it is because we want people to own it. We want people to ensure that they understand that this is theirs. You should rail up that you can't get there. You should, because we should want every Belizean to. We also work with the community groups to do special trips that are defrayed by the resorts, that are defrayed by tourism stakeholders to bring them there, because that's the next generation that are going to own this or have to own this.
Yeah. So TASA at 10, and I know it's not not right now, but and you explained some of the activities that will surround what you all will do, but will there be cake, and how can I get one?
Yes. So for the 7 months, every month, and we will send you the calendar. I think they already shared some of the calendar with you. We will be doing different activities. So in April, we launch with Earth Day. We are doing some short videos so that people understand basically how the reserve is managed, who all are involved, what do they do, what are their thoughts on how the reserve has been managed. And we have different activities from our enforcement program, from our education program, from our science program that will be done in the different months depending on the open and close season of fish, so people understand, okay, what is it about conch? What is it about lobster? So that people can better understand why is it that we have this. Because many times people see a police with a big stick, right? And it's not only that; it's to understand, okay, how does this contribute to the economy?
Why do you have an open season and a closed season?
Exactly. And then this rolls into November, where we will have a big gala on November 4th. To be able to again culminate all our partners, our donors, thank everybody for the 10 years of work, and basically message, okay, what are we going to do for the next 10 years? You
Yeah.
know, where, because this is not a short-term plan. This is a long-term plan. We really take pride and we really feel privileged to be able to do this on behalf of the government and people of Belize. And we take that very seriously. And so we want to inform everybody to understand, okay, what all have we done? What have we accomplished? Where the challenges are? And how we plan to continue in the next 10 years, and how we plan to overcome those challenges so that we can continue, and how we can get you to Turneffe to make sure, and the rest of the Belizean
Yes.
public to Turneffe, to be able to see this is mine, this is yours. Because if you understand, in the grand scheme of things, Turneffe is basically has $500 million Belize dollars of revenue worth to this economy. 382 million comes from shoreline protection from the 11,000 hectares of mangroves that are there. 150 million in tourism that occurs there. Turneffe is ranked top 10 on earth for fly fishing. Right?
Yeah.
It's where you can hit the grand slam. Fly fishing is 6%, 6.7% of GDP. You know, the commercial fishing is 25 to 30% of the Northern and National Fishermen Cooperative production from Turneffe. For conch and lobster mainly, and we also produce a lot of finfish. We have $7 million worth of blue carbon that is locked up in Turneffe that also has to be monetized. We have not estimated the deep sea fishery as yet. So people have to understand that all this is yours, but it needs management.
Yeah.
It's not something that's going to manage itself,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. TASA at 10. Mr. Valdemar, thank you so much for coming in. Congrats on 10 years of keeping this beautiful jewel alive for us and for the Belizean people, and I'll talk to you about it again then.
Yeah, and it's, remember, it's not only me, right? It's a team of people at TASA that has been doing this,
Absolutely.
and a team of supporters and donors that have been doing this along with us. And Paul, you're invited back, and you're invited.
So,
Can't wait.
I feel like Paul now tell me when it's time.
I will. I will. I'll make sure
He got to jump off the whip.
right?
But from moving from one initiative to another, we are about to take the break, and we'll be back with the Ariel Rosado Foundation and what they're doing to raise awareness and funds. Stay with us. We'll be right back.